Thank you very much for being here. We're here to talk about school safety. One of the things we want to talk about tonight related to school safety are the specifics of how we try to make our schools as safe as possible. And it's very timely, obviously, with the recent tragedy a couple of weeks ago in Florida, but even more so, you may have heard. There was a shooting in Maryland just today. There were 3 Wake County schools that were put on lockdown because of the bomb threat today. There is a person, and I haven't heard all the details. There's apparently a young man who is armed and holed up in a room across from Princeton University today. And so we know that there's a lot of issues that are going on in our nation, and it's making school safety rise to the top. For us, that's an everyday thing. So I hope tonight we give you a little bit better insight on how we try to make the school campuses as safe as possible, some ways that you can become involved, and of course one of those ways is to constantly, be on the lookout for things that seem a little out of place. I'm going to pause for just a few moments, and I'm going to turn it over to Sheriff Mahoney, who will talk about some of these fine individuals that we have here on the front row with us tonight as well.
Good evening. I'm Sheriff David Mahoney, and I'm glad to be here with you tonight. I appreciate all of you coming out and to have a conversation about something that's very near and dear to all of our hearts, and that's the safety of our schools. In just a minute, I'm going to have our school resource officers stand up and introduce themselves, tell what school they're assigned to. But before I do that, I just want to take a moment to really just talk about how fortunate we are here in this community. I had an opportunity about 2 weeks ago to be at a regional sheriff's meeting. And there were about 18 or 19 sheriffs in the western part of the state at this meeting, and at the conclusion of the meeting, the school safety had started to become a big topic during that meeting, and they asked the sheriffs to go around and started on one corner. And since I'm on the executive committee, I ended up being on the opposite corner, got to hear all of those responses all the way around. And one by one, each sheriff was asked to give, if you could do one thing in your county, what would it be to improve school safety? And although there were some repeat answers as we went around that table, I was really excited as we went around that table to say, we do that here in Transylvania County. We do that in Transylvania County. We have SROs for schools in Transylvania County. We have a partnership with the school system in Transylvania County, with the county commissioners, with our community. And so, although there is no such thing as a perfect security plan, there are always things to consider. We are very fortunate here in Transylvania County to have a good system in place, one that's been modeled in many other areas. Lieutenant Greg Straub and I have been invited to a couple of counties over the last year or two to present our school resource officer program. It's quickly becoming a model that other counties are wanting to follow, and I'm proud of that. And it's because of the partnership with many of you and the hard work and dedication of these men and women sitting here on the front row as well. I can promise you one thing, whether we agree or disagree on an issue, the safety of our school children is the most important thing to all of us. That's why we're here. And so I'm excited about the opportunity to talk a little bit about what we do in terms of school safety. Looking forward to any questions that you may have. And at this point, I think I'm going to ask Lieutenant Greg Straub if he'll stand up. And I'll ask all of our school resource officers very quickly if they will just stand up and introduce themselves and tell what school you're assigned to.
Thank you. Lieutenant Greg Straub. I'm currently assigned to Rosman High School. I've been there about 18 years now, serving in the role.
My name is Mark Ellenberger. I'm the school resource officer here at Brevard High School. I've been here for 10 years. I'm a graduate of Brevard High School. I have 2 sons, one that graduated last year from Brevard High School and one that's a junior here.
Desiree Abram. I'm the SRO at Rosman Middle School, been there 11 years. And I have 6 children in the school system. One that just graduated and 2 foster kids and my 3 who are sophomores. freshman and a 7th grader at the middle school.
My name is Chris Foster. I'm the SRO at Brevard Elementary, and I also have 4 kids in the system. Actually, one at Brevard College, 2 here at the high school, and 1 at the middle school. I've been at the elementary school almost 5 years now.
I'm Michael Hall, been SRO up at TC Henderson for the last 5 years. I've got 2 sons, both of them graduated from Rosman High School.
I'm Officer Scott Thomas. I've been 12 years at Rosman Elementary as a DARE officer and a school resource officer. I have a daughter that came through Brevard High School and graduated from here last year.
I'm Kelly Cook. I'm at Blue Ridge Community College. I have 2 kids in the school system. I also have a wife as a teacher in the school system.
Afternoon, Sam Singleton, Brevard Middle School. Enjoy working with the students.
I'm Andrew Shook. I'm the SRO at Biscuit Forest Elementary, and I've been there for the last 6 years.
I'm Donnie Ryan, SRO at Biscuit.
So I thought that it was really important to put a face to some of the names and to see the commitment that's been made by the Sheriff's Office, the County Commission, and the school system to make sure our schools have a law enforcement officer. SROs are some, or in the past there's been some confusion about whether they're just security guards or exactly what they are. They're full deputy sheriffs with full powers of arrest, full authority as any other deputy sheriff or law enforcement officer in the state of North Carolina. And I'm just really proud of the hard work that this division does every single day. Safety is a much bigger topic than just whether you have someone providing security at the door. Safety is about relationships. Safety is about security. Safety is about recognizing if that child is having an issue that may indicate that something's going on at home or something that's going on at school that we need to look at a little bit further. And that's where the relationship that our SROs have with faculty and staff is really the most important, because, you know, there's not a group out here, faculty, staff, administration, law enforcement, that can do all of those things that need to be done to make the campus safe. But together, I think that we're doing some really good things. And so I just wanted to take an opportunity for these folks to introduce themselves, because they do a phenomenal job. Aside from providing security at each of the campuses, they teach classes. In just a minute, I'm going to have the lieutenant come back up and talk a little bit about exactly what they do in the course of their work in the schools. And so I think you'll be surprised to hear some of the things that they're involved in: parent contact, student contact, classes taught. And so I just want to make sure that you all understand that it's much more than somebody standing at the door to provide security. It truly is a resource for faculty, the staff, and students of each school.
You heard the word relationship used frequently. You're going to hear it more. This doesn't happen by accident. I'm going to jump in, before we turn it back over to Officer Strock, I'm going to jump in and just throw out several things for you to be thinking about. Number one, our SROs in this county have been involved in a program where they, as Sheriff says, not only law enforcement, but they know how to work with students. In fact, in many ways, we consider them in our county as an extension of our faculty. They are part of our faculty. They're involved in coaching and other activities you're going to hear about. They establish those relationships with students so that our students do not see that as someone to fear, to try to avoid. It's someone who is there to care about them, care about their safety, care about their learning, to make sure that they know that if they have any concerns, they can come to them Many times a student may feel uncomfortable for whatever reason talking to a teacher or an administrator. They may go to the SRO. And we've had this relationship and partnership in place for a very long time. It's a very strong one. I'm very proud of it. We consider these people as colleagues as well as friends. It's been in place a very long time. You know, Henderson County, not to throw anything on our neighbors, but they still do not have an SRO in every school. I know they're having that conversation now. And I hope when they have that conversation, they use this model, because it's not just having a law enforcement officer there at the school. It's about having someone who is like an extension of the faculty, who also is a law enforcement officer. So that partnership is very, very key. Some other things that we have in place with that partnership and relationships is we have a good relationship, quite frankly, with the county commissioners who continue to provide assistance for us to have those SROs. Very proud of that, very thankful for that, very, very much appreciative, because they realize that school safety is very important. We had all these things in place long before these recent tragedies, because there's been an investment and a realization in this county going back many, many years prior to many of us, that they realized that this was important for our students. We also have a partnership with our school board, who I very much appreciate being here tonight. We stay on top of issues because we want to know that our students are not only in a safe learning environment, but they feel like they can come to people with some of their concerns. You see, you talk to our teachers, and I'm pretty sure they'll vouch for this. Many people think that our first role is to educate children. That's not true. That's important, but that's not true. There's three primary things that we do, and our SROs are part of this. The first thing, our first priority as an educator, an educational staff, is student safety. That's the number one priority, student safety. Quite frankly, the second one is to love them. And then the third one is to educate them as best as we can. And that's what we want to work toward. And I know that's what our teachers and faculty have in place. I'm very proud of that. You should be proud of their work on your behalf for children. Some other things I'll throw out about what we have in our schools, thanks to support resources. We have cameras in our high schools. It's not that we're trying to be big brother spying on people. Quite frankly, the reality of today's world, where these cameras are a tool that assists us to make sure people are safe. We'd like to have more of them. Simply because we have large, sprawling campuses like this one, that we have to make sure that, you know, we try to cover the areas where something may be of concern with someone coming on campus. We have key card systems in our schools. We have powerful magnets on our doors, so that you might think you'll pull on some of these doors, and when that system is in place, you have to be buzzed in. You'd have to hook up the truck to try to pull it off the hinges, because they're that powerful, those magnets. Is it 100% foolproof? No. Many people visit our school campuses. Many people have reasons to visit different classrooms, different teachers, go to the guidance department. There's a lot of that goes on. These are constantly things that we're working on to try to improve. We also are aware that human nature sometimes comes into play. We have to remind ourselves of that. We're at that time of year, you know how March and April is in the mountains, where one day it'll be 80 degrees. And another day, like tomorrow, it will not be. It will be cold. And when you have that kind of back and forth, you can't just turn on the heating and air conditioning units like you can a home unit. They have to be switched over. So sometimes we have to remind people, you know, I know it's a little hot today, but you can't prop it over. You can't do that. Quite frankly, I'm going to tell you another advantage that we have. We have smaller schools. It doesn't make them immune to problems. We realize that. But when you have smaller schools, not only do we feel like it enhances the educational opportunities for students, we also think it helps build those relationships where our SROs know every student in their school. Our teachers know the students in our schools. Those small schools are critical to make sure you have a good, rounded education that is in a safe location. I know we're going to end up answering some questions, and we'll go into those, but I'll pause for a moment to share with you.
So before I bring Greg, if you want to start working his way up here to talk about some specifics. School safety starts every year with the same thing. It's called a psych survey. And each SRO completes this assessment tool within their school, and it identifies all kinds of potential safety hazards. It's just not something we do alone. We work with various other agencies, fire marshal, agencies such as that. And so the idea is to have a platform to start with where we look at individual campuses to see what specific issues are present at that campus. And as you might can imagine, they're different from one campus to another. And so it's very important that we do that assessment tool very early on in the school year so that we have an opportunity to work collectively to address any safety concerns that come up. And sometimes they change from year to year. We may be able to address one this year and identify another one next year. And so we're constantly evaluating that. That's one of the reasons we do that survey each year. So at this point, I think I'm going to turn it over to Lieutenant Greg Strock, who's over all of our SROs, and ask him to talk a little bit of detail of what we do.
Thank you, fellas. I first would start saying, I mentioned when I stood up a while ago, I've been in the school system now 18 years in this role. And as these fellows were talking, I think back to where we were at 18 years ago when we were talking about school safety. You know, I can remember the day when our buildings were open and free for anyone to come and go as they pleased. If you're a parent and have visited one of our schools recently, you know that that's not the case anymore. Each year we have an opportunity, we being my SROs, to visit one of the National Safe Schools conferences. Usually it's attended by 600 or 700 people from across the nation to talk school safety. And every year for the last 5 or 6 years, on the way home I think back to things that I've heard and other systems talking about the things that they were doing to improve their system or the safety of their schools. And I too, as Mahoney mentioned a while ago, think, wow, you know, everything that we just heard other systems trying to accomplish, we already have. Having 3 children of my own who recently came through our system, never once was I ever concerned about their safety in the school. Went over to Brevard College last week and was texting me when we had the incident over there. Of course, wanted to know that, what's going on. I was out at Rosman High School, and never once did I feel like I needed to leave and get over there to my child. I knew he was safe, and I knew that law enforcement folks that had responded over there from whatever agencies that they were there for, were going to take care of what needed to take care of. So it's that peace of mind that I have as a parent that I think it's important that I share with you guys. We're in a good place with our schools right now. Talking about our resource officers, a lot of folks don't realize that there's so much other that goes into our daily routine when we're in school. Looking at some of the things that I think is relevant to talk about tonight, that a lot of folks don't realize is the time that these guys are spending in the classrooms, educating your child, or just simply being there, supporting them. This past year, looking at some numbers this afternoon, there's a little over 350 classes that these guys taught throughout the course of the year. And that ranges from there at the 5th grade level to there at the 7th grade level. There at the 5th grade level, there's more group education. It touches on bullying and decision making, but more at the 7th grade level is primarily focused on decision making. Each year for our own information, we keep up a daily report that gives us a tracking at the end of the year of how many parent contacts we've made and student contacts we've made. And when I talk about student contacts or parent contacts, I'm not talking about just good morning or how are you doing. It's more of a formal sit down where a student has either come to us or we went to them and talked to them about something that may be going on inside school or outside school. And this past school year, we were right about 3,300 student contacts that these guys have made. It's important to know that oftentimes when we're talking to students, it's not necessarily about something that's going on from 7:30 to 3:30 during the normal course of the day. It could be something that's going on at home or something that occurred over the weekend. And I said to the group last week when we had this call, I have always said that it's important to build those relationships with the students and parents where they really realize we're a resource student. You know, we're not just there from 7:30 to 3:30, while our primary job is to make sure our students and staff are safe. But we want them to know that they can come to us, you know, when they need us. Leads into another number. This past year, I was looking at it. Our folks made about 200 home visits. I learned early on that if you want to reach a family and be able to make them feel comfortable, it's much easier to do when we're out there sitting on their couch, if you will. You know, we've been fortunate over the years, and our county has so many options for us as far as resources for our families. That maybe we know about the family's gone, and that's just an opportunity for us to share those with those families and reach out and get them together if they need it, if it's possible. You'll see these guys, sporting events, any extracurricular stuff. I feel like it's important that we support those kids after hours, whether it's a band concert or a play or any program they're involved in the school. If they see you there, whether you talk to them or not, I promise you the next day or in a couple days at school, they'll make mention of seeing you there. And we always talk about how important it is to let them know we're supporting, we love them, we care about them, and they're for them. So I'll turn it back over to these folks. If you have questions, we'll come up with them.
So again, I think maybe that surprises a lot of folks to hear that kind of student contact, parent contact, home visits. One of the other things that I'd like to talk about, just quick show of hands, who in here have heard of our Dare Camp or Shield Camp that we do this summer? Thank you. That really does my heart good to know that many people have heard about it. That, you might be asking, what does that have to do with school safety? I promise you've heard a lot about building relationships, and that is one of the most fundamental components of safety is getting to know these kids, getting to know their families, earning the trust of those kids, and that's what it takes. And on the second week of our Shield Camp, we have a big barbecue blowout, and it's a wonderful experience for those kids to see SROs playing cornhole in the parish shores, teachers, principals, community leaders, out there just with their families in a completely different role. And I think that sometimes gets overlooked in terms of how important that is to building those relationships so that we can understand when that child comes into school next week and there's something a little off. Okay, I think we'd all agree that's an important step to safety and security. I think if you look back over the history of school violence, you will see folks looking back saying, you know, I recognize that something was a little off. Well, that's what this is all about. So I just don't want us all to get focused on the fact that we have deputy sheriffs in our school. That's important. But the relationships that we have, the relationships that we're building with these kids is the fundamental part of where all of this discussion about safety and the well-being of our children really starts. So I appreciate you indulging us a little bit with that. I'm quite confident there will be a lot of questions, and I think, are we ready for this?
I think we are, Mr. Gilligan. So I've got some questions that were sent in on our online form. And at this time, if I could ask folks who have written down your questions, if you'll pass them to this aisle right here in front of me. So, Sheriff Mahoney and Superintendent McDaris, here's our first question. Why can't we have more officers in each school? When we only have one officer, it is easy to see when that person is gone. One officer can't possibly be in the school every day for every month the school is open. A greater concern is the middle and high schools where kids go in and out different exits throughout the day. It would be easy to enter the school during class changes. So, multiple SROs.
So that's a great question. I think in a perfect world, we probably would have 2 or more SROs in some of our larger schools. Quite honestly, it's a funding issue. We receive funding from the school system. They receive it from the county commissioners, and that's how we fund our school resource officers in each of these schools. If those funding sources were to be increased, I certainly would be agreeable, particularly in some of our larger campuses, to take a look at terms of the second part of that question, with students going in and out of the schools, middle school and high school, that's something we're very aware of, and that's part of the natural progression of students taking a little more responsibility and accountability as they get older. We all remember when we went to elementary school and we were told you went here at this time or you stayed put, and then you got a little more freedom in middle school and then a little bit more in high school. And I think that's important. I don't want to ever see the time that our schools look and feel like fortresses. I don't think that is a good environment for our kids to learn. I don't think for 1 minute that's a welcoming environment for parents to visit. So to answer that question, I will just say this: our SROs are very familiar with class schedules. They're very aware of the risks that come with students coming and going. But if we're going to teach young men and women to be responsible adults, that's just going to have to be a necessity as they come and go to class, and we're just going to be prepared to do what we need to do to make that as safe a transition as possible.
One other thing, if I could add, I appreciate that the church are doing this. As part of the training for our SROs, there are times that they have to be off campus. And doing a fantastic job, I think, working with schools and other SROs to have some coverage move in, because we know that training has to occur.
So specifically, I appreciate you bringing that up. As you think about where our schools are located, there's almost always another school somewhere close by. If it's a scheduled outing, if we have someone that is out for training, the state mandates that law enforcement officers receive training. Sometimes that cannot be avoided when it's during school day. We take the opportunity then to either bring in someone else that maybe is part-time with us that used to do a school resource function, or we may call that neighboring school and say, hey, look, we're going to have this one out for this period of the day, and can you cover that? So there are a lot of considerations when we know that our SRO will be out. In terms of vacation and things of that nature, that's one of the drawbacks of being an SRO. They're very limited on the months that they typically can take vacation. And even more so limited once we start getting through the 3 weeks of hurricane season. So we do make a very concerted effort to cover the schools when we know that SRO is going to be absent from the campus. Is it covered 100% of the time? It's not. We're not going to advertise when that time is for obvious reasons, but we do make a strong effort to cover it as often as we possibly can.
These two questions kind of go together, so let's see if we can lump them. What is being planned or discussed to make the schools in our county more closed off in structure rather than open, as many of our campuses are? And is there a possibility of putting metal detectors in the schools?
Well, anything's possible. Let me answer the first part. We are looking, I know you've probably seen in the paper, we are looking at some ways that we can enhance our facilities to improve them and modernize them. For example, this campus here was built in 1959. There's some work. In those days, no one thought anything about building a sprawling campus and having it more compact for a security center. So those are some conversations that the school board is having, and we're working with county commissioners on some discussions on how we can do some things to make our campuses safer. And then, of course, any work that's done on any type of building, whether it be renovations or new, certainly part of that conversation includes how to make it safer with today's standards. So that is an ongoing conversation. The second part was, can you read the second question again, Kevin?
The other part, so closed or open campuses and metal detectors.
Metal detectors. Anything is possible. I've done some pricing on metal detectors. You want to keep everything safe, kind of balance that with having a school not look like a prison, but of course safety is foremost. I think metal detectors, and Sheriff can correct me if I'm wrong on this, I believe metal detectors run anywhere from $15,000 up to $50,000. per school, and then you're talking one at a location. And campus like this, for example, has multiple points of entry. You have ball games and things of that nature. So certainly, all those things are considerations that we look into. Quite frankly, to be perfectly honest with you, some of it comes down to resources and how much we can obtain within a finite period of time.
Yeah, I mean, certainly metal detectors are extremely expensive. We are charged for the operation of one at our county courthouse, and not only is it expensive to purchase, it's the amount of ongoing maintenance that you're required to do. And that doesn't even take into account the person that needs to be assigned to that unit to monitor the, what the alarms is. So I think if prepared to answer the courthouse question, but I want to say we had over 65,000 visitors to our courthouse last year, and about half of those set that alarm off. So if you can imagine the man hours that it would take to man that one single metal detector, it's phenomenal. And so, again, resource allocation, both financial and manpower, is a consideration on that.
There are a lot of questions, as you might imagine, about the security of this campus. Here's one that we got over email. Due to the gentleman getting into the bus garage area from the Kingsbridge house, should the fence be secured to keep intruders from entering the area around Brevard High School and plant operations?
Yes. We did have a gentleman recently that was suffering from some effects of dementia, and he was able to get into the bus garage area. Still not really sure, quite frankly, how he survived that time, but he proved the point indirectly that we do have some points that are accessible. And it's something that we look at with our perimeter work. This campus, in some places, has fencing. All of our campuses have locations that may not have fencing. They may be, for example, Episcopal Forest Elementary School is in a shared location with some of the county facilities. So fencing has been discussed. It's not the answer to everything, but there are some places where the fencing obviously is not as adequate. At the same time, when you put fencing in front of the school, you want to make sure that you have the added expense, I feel, to make it look attractive and still keep the school looking inviting. You do not want to make it look like a prison. Again, I say over and over again, safety is foremost, but at the same time, you don't want to scare people from coming to school. And so I know Brevard High School, for example, this campus is working with some of our very own students and instructors on a fence design that serves the fence, but naturally enhance the appearance of the campus and give it a decorative look while providing that security. So those are some things that is part of an ongoing conversation, absolutely.
Again, lots of questions around how campuses are built. Brevard High School is a very open campus. How do you monitor the campus now?
This campus probably has more cameras on it than any other campus. Cameras on the hallways and exterior doors. There are some locations where you are going to have to move from one building to another outside. That's just the design of this campus. The only answer to that at this time is to look at ways that we can improve the plan if we're able to do some renovations and other work to address that. But this campus does probably have, not probably, I know it does, this campus has more exterior doors than any campus in this county. You're probably going to find the same thing over at West Henderson High School, East Henderson High School, and some other campuses that were built at the time when you had sprawling campuses with many multiple buildings. At the same time, we do ask our faculty and staff to be vigilant. We do ask visitors to check it through the front. We do keep doors on the ends locked. We do try to maintain a perimeter with use of cameras. People keep a watchful eye, and I certainly hope that works. But it requires constant vigilance, and we are aware of those issues. It concerns us quite frankly. But having a heightened awareness, it least as part of the approach to trying to address the school safety issue.
One thing I would add to the idea of monitoring the campus is that the school system has been very gracious in allowing our SROs to have access via their cell phone to monitor those cameras. And so on a campus like this, you might imagine the SRO at this moment may be in the office area and then maybe down at the football field, 30 minutes later. But regardless of where the school resource officer is at, they have the ability to monitor the cameras within the campus. And I think that's an important component to being able to monitor, even when you're on campus, a different part of the campus. I think it's important to point that out.
There are questions about other campuses, but there's so many, I'm going to try to stay on here for a minute. Are there plans in place to improve facility design here at Brevard High School in terms of the office, physically seeing people once they are buzzed into the building?
That would be part of the hope for renovation. One way or another to try to address that would be a camera on the front door so that the person there at the reception desk can see who walks up to that front door. We try to get a visual on the individual, but certainly we look at some type of window system. I think anything's out on the table right now as part of our consideration. We're looking at ways to try to improve not only the functioning of the campus, but also the security of the campus.
What does Transylvania County Schools do right now to limit the number of entrances to the building? And with the layout of the campuses, how much can you do?
Well, we have a lot of visitors on our campus. I don't know how we can predict each day. Some days you'll have a few, some days you'll have many. But right now, we don't have plans to turn people away unless we have good reason to turn people away. We have no trespass people before, quite frankly. We've no trespass them off of our campus because they were having a bad day. Didn't mean they were going to try to do any harm to anyone, but it just indicated to us that they were having a type of day where we did not want it to escalate. So we do take that very seriously, but as far as trying to keep people off the campus, we want people to visit our campuses for good reason. They have children, grandchildren here to see a program, we have sporting events, we have concerts, we have people who come back to guidance to get a copy of a transcript from the 1950s. I could go on and on down the list. They're seeking advice. So we are going to continue to have a lot of visitors to our campus. I don't know of any plans to limit that.
Sheriff, we had a few questions about the SRO program. What measures are taken to ensure the capability of each SRO, whether it's physical fitness, mental evaluations, etc.? How do you find your SROs, and what do you do to train them?
That's a great question. So before any deputy sheriff is hired within our agency, that applicant is required to submit to a psychological evaluation to determine suitability for the career. And so that's one of the first steps. We hire good people. And I think in any organization, hiring good people is a fundamental building block. And so the first thing we do is we hire good people. The second thing we do is try to equip them well. We want to make sure they have the latest technology at their disposal. We want to make sure they have the latest training, the latest bit of knowledge, and then we want to empower them to use that and look for all kinds of new ideas and new ways to be innovative in the school safety environment. We do periodic psychological evaluations to make sure that our folks remain fit for duty in that term. We encourage physical fitness as part of that. I'm glad we sat down and spent my 3-mile run right before I got here. The legs are shaking a little bit. So we encourage that. We'll have another big team physical fitness exercises coming Thursday. So we're really, I think where we at, Mark, running from Murphy to Mania, we've already passed it, right? Where we at right now? We just came through Murphy. We started in Mania as an office. We decided we wanted to do that virtually. We're submitting our mileages each week. And I think that's just an example of some good teamwork that's going on in our office in terms of physical fitness and couple that with the training and the psychological suitability. I'm absolutely confident we keep the best capable people.
Question about about recruitment and people of color on the resource team, especially at the high schools. What's the ratio of officers of different ethnicities to officers who are white, and how do you handle that in your department?
That's a great question, something that we think about, discuss quite often. As you might imagine, you just met our SRO staff, and so in terms of ethnicity, I don't look to hire a person or not hire a person based on ethnicity. I look to hire a person on who's best qualified to serve in that role. Not too many months ago, we had an outstanding young African-American lady that was an SRO. The only reason she's not an SRO right now is she opted to take a promotion and then ultimately got a great promotion and became a stay-at-home mom for just a little while. And so staffing, as with any organization, ebbs and flows. It moves. Sometimes we have a number that more matches our demographic in the county. Sometimes we have less. We're always looking for good applicants first, regardless of their background. If you can serve our community and our citizens as a good deputy sheriff, I will absolutely hire you in a heartbeat. So if anybody out there knows anybody that would like to enter our exciting field, come see me or have them come see me. I'd love to talk to them about some wonderful opportunities.
Getting back to some of the facilities, classroom door lock system or monitored camera system. That's something that I think there may be more details that people don't know about. And can we speak to the presence of cameras at the elementary and middle schools?
Yes, let me go back and that. The elementary schools do not have as many cameras as middle or high schools. In fact, most of the elementaries primarily have one camera with a system on the front door, unless it's a system where the receptionist can actually see the person through some frosted glass that they can see out, so we don't allow that. So that's something that's a discussion, including some perimeter cameras. Again, it's a question of resources that we're looking into. I do want to also say something that I think when we talk about school facilities, that may be overlooked, that is part of making the facility safe. And it's something that you may not directly think about, but it is critically important. In this day and time, we're seeing a lot of issues related to mental illness in our community. It's just out there. And we're aware of it. And people are struggling for a variety of reasons. And sometimes families are struggling. And we know that students experience things at home and it comes over into the schools. And we're aware of that. We've talked about relationships and trying to make the facility safe. Let me tell you another important thing that sometimes goes unnoticed, but it's critically important as far as what is important in an overall school family to make sure that the school's functioning. And that is in the area of counselors and social workers and school psychologists. We actually are staffed better than some places. We're funded a certain amount from the state. It's not enough to cover it. So we can use any other available revenues that we're allowed to try to supplement that. That said, I would make the case that in addition to all these other things that are very important, we could use some more social workers. We could use some more school psychologists. We have 8 counselors. Sometimes they're shared positions between 2 schools. We could use more. It's not a plea to, here, we need you to ask for this and this and this. It's just awareness that these are all parts of the total package for education that we look into. That also helps make a facility safer because they establish a different type of relationship and they're working with someone who is struggling through something and recognizing that and talking to students who, are at a point for whatever reason in their life where maybe they need that type of discussion. And so that's critical to the security of the campus as well. As far as the doors, we go through drills. We have code drills all the time. Recently, we had a very concerned staff member who had emailed one of our principals to state that they had asked their child, do you ever, this is right after the event in Florida, do you do any of these drills? And as children will do sometimes, perhaps not yours, but mine did this, your teenagers especially, the answer was no, we don't do anything like that. And so the principal was able to give them the day, the specific time of day that they did do that. And when they reminded their child of that, they said, oh yeah, I forgot about that. We do those drills, they're very important. And we try to make sure that people know that you lock those doors and there's a protocol that you use to unlock the door. We also are looking at some devices that we have seen design in some of our students in career technical education classes with one of our instructors are trying to perfect the model. This is a very lightweight device made out of metal that basically it sets down into a door and a rod pops out and makes that door extra secure. We're looking at those types of things as well. But we also are now having to have a conversation because bad people sometimes figure out how to do things no matter what you try. Go back to that mental illness issue. The young man that did this, that did the terrible deed in Florida, he knew what all of our children know and what we know. We have fire drills at schools. What do you do when you have a fire drill? Well, you're taught to go to a certain location. The young man knew that. He pulled the fire on because he knew people would come out to the hallway. Send the children by somebody. So now we're having to have conversations about that, about the difference and the nuance in working with our students and teachers on our drills to make sure that we're following as safe a protocol as we can for every situation. We have to try to continue to work step by step ahead.
Getting outside the building a little bit, what about the safety of our students on wide open playgrounds? What would you say to families?
Yeah, so that is a great question about safety in a wide open playground. Anytime any of us leave the confines of a secure area, that's a safety concern. Our SROs are familiar with that. They're aware of that. It's not uncommon during those times to see an SRO walk through that area, pay attention to that area, and be around that area, coupled with educators from the school. And so, in terms of what's the most safe thing to do, keep everybody inside. But I think that there are some real disadvantages to that, particularly in terms of education. I think it's important for our kids to be able to go out and have fun and enjoy school and have the opportunity to play. And I hate the thought that we ever get to a place that kids can't play. I think we're living in a time that we have to be more mindful of what could happen and be more prepared to deal with those kind of things and more committed to mitigate those risks. I think that that's what, I know that's what we're doing. We're recognizing the fact that that's a vulnerable time, a vulnerable place to be, but we're taking those extra steps as best we can to make sure it's a safer place as possible.
Let's talk about student life for a couple more questions. And this could be across all the schools. Dr. McDaris, how often do the schools talk to students about bullying and racism?
Bullying and racism?
Bullying and racism.
I would say that conversation happens, if not widespread with the entire school population, with individual students on a case-by-case basis, at the very least, every day. Bullying is an issue in our society. You don't have to have a show of hands, but quite frankly, sometimes bullies grow up to be adult bullies. And we know that students will do things. What frustrates, I believe, parents is that for student protection, first of all, we have to know about the incident. We have to be aware of it. Sometimes students are reluctant to report things for a variety of reasons. We want them to. And then the other part that can be frustrating is when we investigate and we address the issue, many times parents want to know what you do to that kid, what you do to the kid that was bullying my child, what did you do? They can't do that. Just as we don't reveal certain types of information to another parent about their child, it's both ways. There's actually laws and regulations that protect students. And so I know that can be frustrating. I realize that. I know it can be very frustrating. When you have a child that experiences bullying, it makes them not want to come to school. It makes them withdraw. And so we do try to take that very seriously. And every case is looked into, and quite frankly, we need the help of not only people to step forward and let us know when this has happened to them and understand it from a parent perspective. Sometimes you may not know what was done to the other student or what happened. I'm going to say some other things too. When you encounter someone who is prone to go down that road, no pun intended, because we're an educational entity. No pun intended, we want to work with that student truly to try to educate them on why that's wrong. The more that the students learn that it's wrong to do that, and the more that other students step up for their fellow students to also let them know that that is wrong, the better off we'll all be to try to eradicate all those issues, whether it's bullying over someone, the way they look, because of the way they think they are, or the way that their skin color looks, or any reason. It's unacceptable.
How does the school, or even does the school, monitor the social media sites of students for safety concerns? And how are fellow students educated to know what they should be concerned about when looking at social media and their friends?
Well, Facebook's going to be the downfall of Western civilization. One of the things that we can really use the community and parental help on is to work with us, our SROs, all of us, to help our child understand some of the ramifications of using social media improperly. And when you type out something in the moment you hit send, it's gone. It's out there. And people will say things behind a keyboard or a number pad or whatever that they may not say in person. We do try to monitor, we become aware of social media issues, we try to address those, but when they are external to us, in the evening, outside of school, it's very difficult sometimes for us. And it may be as simple as trying to work with us, or try to maybe have your child understand why they can't do some of these things. Maybe take their cell phone away from them for a day or two, but some of the parents have different reasons why they do things, and many times you have that cell phone with them for safety. You want to be able to contact them. We understand that. Social media itself is becoming quite crafty. Snapchat, for example, I don't do Snapchat. We try to be very tech savvy in our system. I don't do Snapchat, and my understanding is, correct me if I'm wrong, Kevin, I think sometimes those conversations actually disappear after a time limit or something like that.
It's possible for Snapchat conversations to disappear, but it's also possible to screenshot them and keep them forever. So.
And when it comes to screenshots, let us know. If somebody sees, your student sees another student posting something on social media that is of concern, let somebody know. Come with an administrator, a teacher, an SRO, know, so that we can look into that. I think we're quite frankly only seeing the beginnings of even more with social media. And social media has some good points too, quite frankly. Social media helps get the word out. When we have a snow event, we track it. More and more people now find out through social media than they do our other sites. It is the way people are. The the post-millennial generation, your children, if you haven't noticed, they're wired to the hilt. And they're carrying around a computer with them. It's more powerful than the desktop some of us had back in the 80s. And so quite frankly, we're probably going to see an explosion of social media. And what we've got to continue to try to do, we need to help us to try to harness that energy and focus it into a positive direction.
Thank you for folks who are still submitting questions. If you've written down a question and you'd like to bring it up, please feel free. We also have more forms in the back. If you haven't received one, there are forms and pens in the back if you came in late. We're also getting some folks using the online forms, so we really appreciate everybody participating and sharing your thoughts. Sheriff, let's take a 10,000-foot view for just a second. Going back to the Brevard College lockdown and everything that came with it. What lessons were taken away from that incident by local law enforcement and the schools working?
So that's a great question. If you recall, a few weeks ago, we had an incident at Brevard College, and it involved a high school student not from our area that was on campus as part of an organized visit, and a miscommunication with her grandmother. It turns out that a number of those students were having a conversation on the bus. Somebody misunderstood. Somebody called grandma, and through the course of those events, it turned out the story was there was going to be a school shooting somewhere in Brevard on that day. As it turned out, nothing could have been further from the truth, but we're not going to take a chance on that. And so our incident command structure was assembled, our response plan was put into place. In that particular scenario, the Brevard Police Department was the lead agency, since Brevard College was within the city, and all of our resources were made available to them to assist in that effort. Part of that response was to, as a precaution, put all of our schools on a soft lockdown, called a which restricts some movement, but it's not an all-out lockdown. And so that part of it, I think, worked very well. We worked very hard to get factual information out very quickly to try to calm any fears or concerns. One of the things that we learned is that information is power. And so that we, through those posts and updating where we actually were, it turns out there was a college student for some unknown reason. Now keep in mind, this incident didn't even involve a gun, it was just a misunderstanding. But a college student at one point tweeted that they heard gunshots outside of their dorm room. We might can imagine the ripple effect of that. And so one of the things that's really important in terms of our response is being able to mitigate false information. I'm a parent. My daughter is a senior at Gardner-Webb. My son is a freshman up at Rosman High School. Last fall, there was a real live active shooter on the campus of Gardner-Webb. And as I began getting information about that, it was not only on the campus of Gardner-Webb, it was in the parking lot of my daughter's apartment complex. Now, I'm a sheriff and a dad. Which one do you think came out first? Luckily, I had the sheriff's phone number down there, and I called and I said, okay, how many bullets do I need to bring, and what kind of resources do you need? Turns out they had well under control. I say that one of the lessons learned is always about providing factual information very quickly. We can quickly be diverted from the mission we should be doing by having to take those resources and put them into dispelling rumors and myths, or by dispelling just straight up lies and untruths, or by having to take a resource that should be looking at the security of that campus and have to put them at an irate parent. Just to be honest, we need to be focused on the safety and security of that campus. So in terms of our lessons learned there, information is power. And I think that in terms of that particular one, we did a good job of getting factual information out. We put into practice the instant command system that we have been training for a number of years. We've been involved in 4 major multi-agency training events so that hopefully we'd never use it, but if that day came, we were able to assemble a good instant command structure. and to be able to mitigate whatever that scenario was in a timely and efficient way.
Bigger question for both of you all. That lockdown at Brevard College triggered a cascade of things in our schools, including the Code Yellow, preventive or soft lockdown. But parents mostly learned about it on the noon news, or they heard about it in other ways that are even more confusing. Do you agree that parents should be notified before the media and before these lockdowns are lifted? And what's being done to make sure that that's happening?
So I just mentioned that information is power, and that's going to be the first thing every single parent wants to know. Trust me, I know that. I was on the scene within just a few moments of that, and guess who was there when I got there? WLS. I don't have a clue how they learn about these things. I really don't want to see how fast they drive to get to these things, but they were set up on scene, and I was there just a few moments. And so, is it possible for us to get parents notified prior to the news running the story? I don't know that it is. Do I agree that's the way that, that's not the way that parents should find out? Absolutely. You should hear about it happening from one of us. Just plain and simple. Both of us if possible. And as soon as I rolled in and saw WLS sitting there, I had good people in place handling this incident. First thing I did is start trying to craft a factual, it's a two-edged sword, but factual Facebook post. There's just really no other platform to reach so many people that quickly. And I did that standing in front of the library at Brevard College, trying to get the information out there quickly. There's really no other platform you can reach. I think in about 15 minutes, we were a little over 12,000 people. And there's just really no other way to get that information out there. I agree completely that it comes from one of us.
I agree, and we do try to get the word out. We had a recent incident, and I was on one time, had the radio beside me, and I was on one phone, and I was trying to send a message to Kevin so that he could put something out as quickly as possible. And I just apologize. I type pretty fast. I cannot type as fast as a high school senior, I can promise you. But we try to get that as quickly as we can. And quite frankly, sometimes other entities beat us to the punch. Students are beat us to the punch. So we really want you to find out the proper way. And when you don't, that makes us all feel bad. So I agree, it's one of those things that we're constantly trying to look at ways to try to get that word out as quickly as possible, including if we ever had a situation where we had to tell, parents where to go, for example. You may remember several years ago, we had a lockdown at one of our schools in the Upper County, Rosman Elementary School. It's on the perimeter there where I was with Alan Justice, who's Saving Drug-Free Schools Director. I was out tonight. He's fought all flu all season, and he called it 2 days ago. He would be here with us to talk about this with us. But to the credit of law enforcement and knowing what to do, I couldn't even get in. And that's the way it's supposed to work. But at the same time, parents were showing up and they needed a location to go. So we had a debriefing, we worked together, part of that partnership. That's one of the things we talk about, so that in the next event, which we hope never is, try to make it a little bit more efficient.
Again, that question comes up fairly often. Can you address how quickly you want parents to be notified? I think we're talking about that. How parents should get updates and where parents should go. I think maybe an explanation of why that's not so easy to communicate in advance would help.
I know the sheriff wants to say something about this, but related to that is something I want to share. I had a parent contact me a little over a week ago, and they were trying to be very helpful. They suggested that maybe what they needed to do was to try to sneak on one of our school campuses to try to help us out to expose if there was any weaknesses in trying to get on the campus. Please do not do that. Someone can get hurt. Please do not do that. Let us work with that. And if you're aware of it, because we do want to know that. But at the same time, first inclination for parent is to go straight to the school. And when law enforcement, and I'll let the sheriff address this, but when we had that lockdown situation, we can't have people coming in 4 different ways or trying to get in 4 different ways, because as we're trying to establish what the threat is and who the threat is, it can get very confusing. We want to make sure that we keep everyone there safe, and that's why sometimes we may have to move the location even of where parents may stay, because we may have a situation like the Brevard College situation that involves more than one campus.
So the response to an active shooter, as you might imagine, is a very complex scenario. We've talked about how quickly it is, how important it is to get information, factual information very quickly. But in terms of the response and reunification of parents, the first priority that we have is to make campus safe. The students that are located where that active shooter scenario is, that is going to be our priority. And I recognize full well that I will have hundreds of upset parents with me because they want to have information that I can't divulge at that moment. I get that. If I can keep your child safe, I'll be happy that you're mad at me all day long. But our first priority has to be to maintain the safety of that campus. In terms of reunification, that is a very important aspect of this. And it's something that we want to do very quickly. But it's not as simple as saying, if we have an incident at this school, that we're going to set up reunification at this other location. I promise you, we have those locations ready. We don't make them public, and I'll tell you why. If you look at this situation in Florida, if you're familiar with how that unfolded, Mr. Cruz exited that school with every other student that walked out with their hands up. Made it all in. In fact, made it a few miles away. That's a big deal. That's not something that is a surprise to law enforcement. If you study active shooter scenarios, you will see that that's a fairly common, fairly common occurrence. Have you ever wondered if you see these things played on the news, why every student's coming out with their hands up? You're thinking, wait a minute, they just went through a very dramatic event, now everybody's having. Keep in mind, we don't necessarily know who that shooter is. If we advertise ahead of time where those reunification points are, what keeps that active shooter from leaving the school and setting up something there? We have that thought out. I promise you that. And if the scenario is such that we can do that, that's going to be one of the very second or third things that we try to get out. First, we want to secure the campus. Second, we're going to release factual information. The only thing worse than no information is bad information. So we want to make sure when we release it right. And then third, we're going to try to get your kids with you just as quickly as possible, because I know that's what I would want to happen if it were my child. But I do want you to understand that our first priority is making sure that campus is safe and that scenario is contained. And then we will implement that phase of that process.
In a similar vein, thinking about what happened in Florida and any other number of places, we had a question from our online forum. Why do students not receive training on what to do if there's a lockdown during a class change, or during lunch, during the soft times of the day? This is from the student's perspective, we don't receive this information whatsoever. We know from recent events people take advantage of those times when there's chaos, such as class changes. How do you stay safe if an event arises during those times, and when should students expect to get information on that?
Well, the protocol, if it's in a class change, it does not have to be just for students that are brought into the classroom to be secure. Teachers they would bring anybody they saw in the hall into the classroom. Lunch presents a level of difficulty. And actually, this is something we were talking about last week, Wednesday or Thursday last week. Again, as we develop this, get these questions, these are things that we did not used to have to consider, but it's reality now that we have to consider those things.
McDaris were asking if we had any questions on this, and we just received 2. So, what would need to be done in order to allow concealed carry personnel, teachers or staff, to carry in schools if they wish?
Well, I'll give you my opinion, and then I'll let the sheriff go over some of the details. I do not believe in arming teachers. I'm going to tell you why. I have been privileged to be combat veterans. Some of you out there may have served, and thank you for that. The teachers are trained to educate. And even if it's a teacher who may have served in the service, they're now an educator. They may have worked with a student just as important. I'm sure some of those teachers knew that student. These officers here sitting before you go through thousands of hours of training. Thousands. You're taught what to do in a split second. What you would be asking the teachers to do, who may not have that level of training, is the hall may have 4 or 5, even 6 individuals. One of them is the shooter. The teacher has to make sure they draw their weapon properly, if they have it on, and it's been secured properly. And in a split second, they have to determine which one of those students is the shooter and which one is not in the blink of an eye. I think that is a heavy responsibility. I think it sounds good, but I want you to put yourself in that position, at least from my opinion, and understand that is not what they're trained for. And I fear that someone would get hurt. I don't know a single teacher in our schools that would not put their life on the line for a student. But as far as arming them, I think you're talking about extensive training over a long time frame, making sure that the weapon is secured. You're talking about a lot of different ramifications. That's not as simple as saying this teacher is going to have a weapon that can protect the student. Every teacher would want to do that. But you're talking about a lot of extensive training and making a split second decision that is life or death. I don't think our teachers are ready for that. I don't think they're trained for that. And in my opinion, it's not a good idea. I'm just being very honest.
And I agree. I think that there is a very good point that Dr. McDaris made, that our teachers are phenomenal. And I have no doubt they will do everything up to and including putting themselves in between an active shooter and their students. I have no doubt about it. There is extensive initial training in firearms that goes on with law enforcement officers. There is extensive in-service training that goes on after that. We do more than just about any other agency around in terms of firearms training. We require it monthly with our officers. And that's not just lining up a target and shooting. That's a lot of scenario-based decision making. We're always looking for ways to do that. I'm a 27-year law enforcement officer with the sheriff's office, and I love what I do. I couldn't be a teacher. I just couldn't. I have the utmost respect for our educators. I thank you for what you've done. Some of the most memorable people in my life have been teachers that I think. And I think the opposite is true with teachers. Teachers went into education to be educated, to empower and nurture our kids. And I think it's a conversation that we're going to have. Ultimately, I don't think it's a good solution. And I'll tell you something else I think about it too. We could talk about issues of how do we identify an armed teacher when we make entry into that scenario. We can talk about whether or not students figure out who that person is, and that makes them the target. There are a lot of issues to talk about in terms of arming teachers. But we could even talk about how unfair it would be to have an educator that had this child in biology last semester and is now faced with a deadly force scenario this semester. That's an incredibly difficult and unfair place to put our educators in. But at the end of the day, I can't believe that teaching our kids that the wolf is at the door for 8 hours a day is healthy. I just don't think that's healthy. And I think that the partnerships that we have in place, the training that we have in place, the good people that we have in place has to be the center of that conversation. I'm willing to have a conversation, but at the end of the day, I don't want anybody, whether it's our legislature or any government level, to make a knee-jerk reaction that I think will be detrimental to the well-being of our children. Because that's why we're all in here tonight. We want the very best for our kids. We want them to be safe. We want them to be, well educated. But we want to have some fun too. Now, we don't want it to be that prison or that fortress that screams, "Bad guys just right outside," and you pop your head up at lunch or bad things you want to have. That's not conducive to good learning. That's not. I don't think it's conducive to good mental health. I think it creates more problems than it'll solve. I wouldn't be for it.
I've seen this question a couple different ways, and I'm kind of leading us toward the end because I know time is moving on. How can parents help or volunteer to improve the safety and the culture in their schools?
First of all, we love parents to volunteer. I mentioned a few of them earlier. For example, when you become aware of something in social media, for example, don't assume that it's innocent. It might be, but go ahead and report it. That's important. Understand that young people are young people, and they're trying to learn about the world around them. They're very formative at their stage in life, and helping them understand respect for another, respect for themselves, getting along, working with people, having this patience with them so that they appreciate patience. Many of the things that you are doing as parents and as parents that have other children over you. Having awareness of your community and understanding what's going on. For example, if you're here tonight, I think that's an important piece. We have families that are struggling in our county. We have homeless students. We have students that they don't know where they're going to stay tonight. So working together with the different things you're doing to try to make them understand that that child is very valuable, the child is loved, the child is respected, that will go a long way to helping that student adjust and treat others accordingly. Those are just some of our initial responses.
And just to add to that, the Sheriff's Office is welcome involvement from all kinds of folks. I have a community advisory board I've had for nearly 12 years. A couple of the members of that board are here tonight. I would invite anybody that's here, can't take everybody, but if you're interested in serving in that role, we meet every couple of months, more often than we need to. But the purpose of that is to get good feedback from you, good ideas from you. I don't believe that I own all the good ideas, and so we want to hear from the folks that we serve. And I would invite anybody here that's interested to serve on our community advisory board to come see me after this and let me get your contact information. I think that's an important part of every community effort that's ever been successful, is to have a collaboration between the folks that are serving and the folks that we serve. And I think that's extremely important to do.
There were a lot of questions around specific safety features. I'm going to try to, instead of digging into each one, we might promise everyone, please remember that we've collected all of these. I might have already mentioned, we've written down the questions from the first town hall and the online. We're up to 4 pages. That's just the questions. The answers are going to take a few more pages after that. So if you're willing to read all of this, please visit our website at tcsnc.org/safety. But here's a list of different things. Parking lot security cameras here, or anything else to prevent an incident like the incident in Parkland, Florida. Off-site camera monitoring, real-time audio and video, or even an invisible air marshal inside our schools. Is there a plan to lock the doors to the halls off the main lobby here at Brevard High School so that visitors can't just walk in? Live camera feeds in the hallways, making doors bullet resistant so that our students have the same safety as the courthouse. Modifying the doors, lots of ideas that people have brought up to our attention. Mechanisms in place that make the doors more secure. Really, I found one that summarizes it. What are your specific plans to improve school safety? Does it involve more people? Does it involve different ways of training the SROs? Is it metal detectors? Is there a way that people can feel like they know what's happening in real time to help make our schools safer, physically, and with staff?
So I can speak to the staff end of that, and certainly each summer we send our SROs to some national training, some of the best school resource officer training available. And aside from learning various tactics, the meat and potatoes of that training is what's going on. What are other places that it gives our folks opportunities to network with other school resource officers from all over the country to find out what works well in their jurisdictions. And I know that these folks have brought back some great ideas and we've implemented some of those. And so I think it's always important to never be satisfied. We always want to be forward-looking and looking at different opportunities. Some of them don't work in small schools. Some of them are perfectly suited for small schools. And so we want to make sure that we're talking to folks that have experienced similar issues that we can learn from. I think that's extremely important. And we're proud to send these folks every summer to the national level training. And I think we've seen some real benefits. The simple fact of the matter is, we mentioned it earlier, hiring good people, equipping those good people. That's not just stuff that's on the field. Equipping them with some really good knowledge about the most current safety topics, and that's something we really try very hard to do.
Anything about the physical features of the campus, Dr. McDaris? I know it was a long.
Well, some of those, every one of those are good food for thought. Some of those, we do have the ability to remote monitoring. We mentioned that with our SROs can access cameras off-site. Cameras are live feed. And so we do have some cameras in our parking lots, trying to put in more. So I think we're on our way with many of these things. The issues surrounding like a metal detector, for example, we want to make sure what does that look like and what are the additional resources that are needed to do that? And does that make just one entry point safe versus others? So that's when we look into, we don't want our schools to look like a fort with the same thing to be safe. So I think all of those things are parts of the conversation, and I'm proud to say many of them we are doing already. I hope to expand those. Our doors may not be bulletproof, that's an extra expense. They're pretty heavy doors, and so that helps to make those secure. So I think there's a lot of things that we have as we look at the possible redesign of our facilities. That will go into play with how we make those even safer. Indoors are concerned. I know Dr. Abernathy here at Brevard High School is doing some really good work with students that have to be out in the middle of class with a temporary card. So we're looking at how that can work to make it even safer. So we're looking at all those things. And I appreciate the list because it's food for thought. I will have to go back to this one thing. It's not necessarily a facilities thing from a physical standpoint, capital, but it is important. The people inside the facility, the relationships they establish, helps make the facility safe. And I cannot You know, I don't want anyone to leave here tonight underestimating something special that you do have in this county. And I hope you appreciate the partnership that has developed between the school system, the sheriff's department, and our county commissioners over time. And that is, we have an SRO in every school. I think that's very critical. And that is an SRO that, as I mentioned before, is more than just a law enforcement officer. In fact, McDaris put him on the spot. We have an SRO here that has been recognized in the past each year at Transylvania County Scholars Evening as the most memorable educator. I think that's important. So don't underestimate something good that we have here with an SRO in every school, because I can assure you across the state, many of my colleagues would be thrilled to have that. They don't yet. I'm sure they're having that conversation right now, but they don't yet. It's the people inside the buildings. It's the teachers, it's the administrators, it's the social workers and counselors. It's all the people that affect the classroom directly and indirectly, because it all affects the classroom.
We have more questions than we're going to be able to get to, but I did have, you mentioned the relationships, and this is kind of a public service announcement. One of our questioners asked, can you remind us of the tip line and let us know how quickly someone responds to that? You can find a connection to many of the things we've talked about tonight on the district homepage, tcsnc.org. If you go there, there's a graphic with our bullying, stop bullying tip line. But you can also go straight to tcsnc.org/tip line. I'll add one more layer to the PSA. How many of you have received announcements via Peach Jar this school year? And again, there's no crime in doing this. How many of you have turned off getting notifications on Peach Jar because it's too much? I would love to know. All right, it's fine. So, once every month, we put out the flyer with the tip line information so that it's always there in your inbox being refreshed. You can get to this information on our website. We had questions about funding. Dr. McDaris, Sheriff Mahoney, where does school safety funding come from, and how has it affected the schools not having things that could make our schools safer?
Well, where does school safety funding come from? Some, we do receive some funding from the state of North Carolina. Appreciate that. We receive a great deal of funding related to school safety from our local government. We definitely appreciate that. I understand that Congressman Meadows has introduced some legislation on the federal level that may provide some federal monies. So it is a variety. It comes in a variety of ways. There are grants we explore, so it's not one particular pool.
And going back to, there was a part of that question that I didn't answer. The question was how quickly and how are those tips responded to? The gentleman that Dr. McDaris referred to earlier, Alan Justice, who's our Director of Safe Schools, he receives those tips directly, personally. And you can leave that tip anonymously or with your contact information. You can make a telephone call and leave a voicemail, or you can send a text message, and those will go directly to the person responsible for safe schools. Those are dealt with expeditiously. If something's happening on a school campus, it might be more surprising for us to hear it through the tip line than if you go straight to your school, go straight to someone at the school. But if it's after school, you thought about something afterwards, you on further reflection, you wanted to get someone's second opinion, that's a great way to do it. But Mr. Justice, if he were here, I know he's told us this multiple times on the radio, and he mentioned it in our first town hall in Rosman. The very first thing would be to talk to someone face to face. If that's at all possible, whether it's your SRO, your principal, your family, a trusted friend, that is by far the most that's the most effective way to get this information across. But if for any reason you feel the need to use that external tip line, it's going to be answered very quickly and dealt with very seriously. There were some folks asking questions about when the school was broken into a couple of years ago. Things were stolen. During band camp, someone broke into the band room. So what are some things that might be happening here at Brevard High School to help students become at ease with changes to their school? And maybe the tip line features into that.
Again, the tip line, again, letting people know, and the investigative work that we do, the cameras have helped us solve a number of things. I don't think there's one particular answer.
I'm almost out of questions. Is there anything that you all feel that we haven't covered?
No, I will simply, I will close my part by saying, I want to thank you all for being here. As Kevin mentioned, there's a way to continue to submit some questions, and we will have a pretty robust list of answers. We do want you to feel like your child, our children in our community are safe, and I want you to know that we're committed to try to make that an even safer condition. These types of meetings help, the input. We had an incident at Brevard College. You know, that actually was a good opportunity to see how things are working and how we can improve them. We ask for your diligence, you making sure that you notice things and you report those. It may seem like nothing, it may seem small, it may not be. It does take a community to make a community safer. And we're all partners in that. I don't want us to ever address that.
So I'd just like to thank you all again too. There's really, it does my heart good to see the number of folks out here tonight that take this seriously. This is an important discussion to have, and it affects all of us with children in our communities, in our schools, as well as the folks in our community. And as I said earlier, I don't think that either one of us will claim to have all the answers. I think we do a phenomenal job in Transylvania County. I'm very proud of the effort and the partnership. But I want to say this, I'm proud of the men and women right here on this front row. They work hard every single day, half the night, ball games, concerts. They make sure that these kids know we care about them. And I think between parents out here in the audience that are making sure that your children know you love and care about them, and they're doing it during the day as well as our phenomenal teachers, that's what makes our community different. It's what makes it a safer place. And I'm thankful to be a part of it. I'm thankful for the opportunity to serve as your sheriff. And I'll say this in closing. Last week we were at Rosman, and I'll invite anyone here that wants to do this as well. I recognize that in a crowd this size, you may feel uncomfortable with writing a question down or even submitting one online. I will be available here. I'll walk right down here. And at the end of this meeting, if there's something that's on your mind that you just didn't feel comfortable writing down or something you'd like to talk to me about, I'll make myself available right down here in front. You feel free to do that. I think that's how we get the answers. In fact, there was a lady that gave me a suggestion that I took on Rosman last week. That's probably one of the smartest things I've ever heard in my life, and we're working to try to implement that right now. And so I would invite you with comments or suggestions, or even just questions you didn't feel comfortable asking in any other formats. I'll be happy to be available. Thank you again for taking part in tonight's forum.
If you did put your